Hi everyone, it's Chris here at Sacred Space. Welcome back to my channel. So today I just wanted to do a quick video on Veganuary and specifically about staying vegan after Veganuary. So if you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you already have some idea about what Veganuary is, but if you don't, simply put, all it means is going vegan for the whole month of January, meaning that you're consuming no dairy, no meat, and no animal products whatsoever in your diet or lifestyle. It can be really fun, but I do appreciate it does come up with some challenges as well, especially for those people who are transitioning from a meat and dairy diet across to a vegan diet. So I went vegan in 2017 after trying Veganuary. I'd been vegetarian for many years and I'd heard some things about the dairy industry and about animal agriculture which didn't sit right with me, so I thought I would try it for a month and see how I got on. And Veganuary is a perfect opportunity to do that because there are literally hundreds of thousands of people doing it all over the world. So I thought I'd kind of take part in that movement and see if I could do it for a whole month. So without further ado, let's get into the top bits of advice that I have for you for going vegan and staying vegan after Veganuary. So number one is quite simple really, it's just to keep focused on the reason that you're doing it. For me, it was for the animals. I'd heard some things about the dairy industries and the meat industries that didn't sit right with me. Now I will admit that in the first couple of weeks of doing Veganuary, I was still quite blind to what went on in the meat and dairy industries to the full extent and the horrors that happened. After a couple of weeks, I was finding things a little bit challenging, and a friend at the time who was vegan recommended that I watch a couple of documentaries, wrote a couple down for me. I remember going home and I didn't really want to watch them because I think in a way I felt it would hold a mirror up for the things that I'd been responsible for. So I put it off for a couple of days and then I had a day off and I popped on Netflix and I can't remember which I watched first, but I think it was Cowspiracy, and then I went online and watched Dominion. One of the main things for me that really kind of jolted me was learning about the egg farming industry. It shows footage of what happens to male chicks when they're born. At like 1 or 2 days old, they're put into a macerator, which is like a large blender, alive, and they're on a conveyor belt and they're kind of sorted through to which ones are the females and which ones are the males, and the males are sentenced to death there and then. And it's even talking about it now, it's horrifying. I'd always seen these little happy egg packets and just, thought that everything was ethically okay and you weren't in a kind of morally grey area. I know that's a pretty hard hitting one for number one, but it's facts like that that really kind of instilled in me that I had to be vegan, that had to become part of my identity, because I didn't want to participate or be a part of anything that causes cruelty and harm like that. It's not just the egg industry as well. If you look into the beef industry and anything to do with pigs or any animal that's used as a commodity, the conditions that they're kept in, the ways that they're slaughtered, is just absolutely horrendous. These animals want to live and they deserve to live. So I kept that at the forefront of my mind. So anytime I found it tricky and almost bought a chocolate bar or something, because we all do have them moments to begin with, I just kind of instilled in myself that if I was doing that, I was directly supporting those industries because I had the facts now. So I would just say kind of educate yourself and then keep in the center of yourself that you're doing this for the animals, and just by one person doing this has a massive impact. So that's my number one. So number two for me is overcoming peer pressure. So when I went vegan, some people were really supportive and some people were supportive at first whilst they thought I was doing it for January as a bit of a fad or, challenge or personal challenge or whatever. And then as soon as he found out that I was now vegan and this was like my lifestyle, this is who I am, I think they themselves felt challenged and it challenged their own ethics. And because of that, it created some animosity and a little bit of friction. You can dispel that with positivity, which is exactly what I would advise to do. So I cooked for those friends. I showed them how tasty vegan food could be. Every time I had any kind of pushback or any kind of difficult responses, I'd always kind of challenge that with why I'm doing it and try and stand my ground. I hate conflict. I'm not a confrontational person, But I swore to myself that I would stand my ground when it came to these things, because otherwise the peer pressure would kind of cave in on me and I felt that I would regress and go backwards. So I did. I stood my ground. I was really positive. I cooked for all my friends and I made it such a positive thing that they kind of came out like a bit of an asshole if they were challenging me because I just made them this delicious dinner. And, I'd bake them cookies and stuff like that. And the friends that didn't quite get it, we're still friends now, and some of those friends are vegan. So that's really good. I think the best advice I can give you for peer pressure is stay positive, stay focused, and your positivity will rub off on the people that are a little bit unsure or feel challenged by your new diet. So keep going and stay positive. Number 3, this is just quite a simple one. It's just to veganize all of your favorite foods. So for me, I love lasagna. It's like one of my favorite foods. So the first thing that I did was learn how to make a lasagna. And it was really easy and it tastes delicious. And I was so impressed that I could eat lasagna vegan and it tasted even better. So whatever it is that is your kind of favorite comfort dish, I guarantee you can make it vegan. If you're unsure how to do that, drop me a message and I'll try my best to either link you to a recipe that I think looks good or tell you a recipe that I know. So drop me a comment below if that is something that you're interested in, because I might be able to help out. But if you do veganize all of your favorite foods, it kind of gives you less of an excuse to regress and go back to dairy or meat. So find your favorite dishes, find your comfort foods and make all of them vegan. Trust me, it pays off in the long run. Number 4 is to embrace transitional foods. And what I actually mean by transitional foods is vegan junk food. It gets a little bit of a bad rep. I think everyone sees a vegan lifestyle as this super healthy lifestyle. And it definitely can be, but you must remember that you can still treat yourself occasionally to a burger or a pizza or whatever it is that is your thing. Doesn't mean that you have to miss out on that. What I would say to you is that while you're transitioning and learning new vegan recipes, I would just give yourself like maybe once a week just to get yourself a burger and some fries or a pizza or some ice cream or whatever it is, because I think it kind of like positively rewards your brain. So I would recommend having like a reward Friday and just like chill from cooking and get yourself a takeaway or whatever and embrace vegan junk food like once every couple of weeks or whatever it is. You won't have fear of missing out, and you'll realize as well that you can have tasty nutritional food. But then of course, if you wanted a lazy Friday night in watching a movie, there are plenty of options available. Number 5 is to find a support group. So it's a pretty simple one really. I just went on Facebook and joined, I think it was York, which is where I was living at the time, York Vegans and a UK Vegans Facebook page. And there was a Reddit group as well that I'd scroll through. And the people on there were so friendly. I would talk about, does anyone know where I can buy vegan leather shoes? And literally I would get like 20, 30 comments within an hour of people saying, oh, you can go to this shoe shop and get these vegan shoes, they're only £30. The support in that community is like no other I've ever experienced. So find a vegan support group. Facebook's a really good place for it. There are literally, I think the group has tens of thousands of active users. I'll put the one that I used in the link below, which is the UK Vegans page. Really helpful, some really lovely people on there. And it's just nice as well to see what other people are eating. And I found it really useful to think, oh, okay, you can go to Sainsbury's and buy X, Y, and Z. So find a support group and be part of a community, and that'll help you as well in your first couple of months in transition over to a vegan diet. Number 5 is just a simple one. It's to take your vitamins. I think too much emphasis is probably put on this, but it is important to make sure that you are getting all of your nutrients and all of the vitamins that you do need. Some of the things as a vegan that you might lack is B12. It isn't as serious as a lot of things on the internet state that it is, but it is quite important. So what I would say is get a daily B12 vitamin. You can pick up these from your local health food shop or from a Holland & Barrett, and also get a packet of multivitamins as well. And if you take those daily, you're not going to have a problem. You'll find that most professional nutritionists recommend anyone on any diet to take supplements anyway, because all you're really doing there is topping up and making sure that you aren't lacking in any major nutrients or vitamins. Number 6 is preparation. What I mean by that is make your meals in advance or make a shopping list. Kind of, if you're planning ahead and you know where you're going in the beginning, it'll be much easier. So I remember when I first went into a supermarket and I literally had no idea what to buy. I was walking around picking up like broccoli and apples because I knew they were vegan, and everything else I was terrified because I had to read all the ingredients and it was a little bit overwhelming. So on my next shopping trip, I did a little bit of research. I found a group called Accidentally Vegan on Instagram and Facebook, and they put all these different ingredients and things that you could buy from main high street supermarkets and shops. And so I started making a little list, and and so I could tick them off as I went round. I went to, I think it was Morrison's at the time, and did my weekly shop, and I found it so much easier just from planning. So I think planning takes the stress out of anything new. So I would strongly recommend preparation. I also made my meals in advance. So I'd make myself a lunch for the next day for at work, so I had that already, and have some of the meal for the evening prepped as well. So I found preparation a huge thing for me. I'm not that organised generally, but I did find putting that extra effort in made the whole thing so much easier. So yes, preparation. Number 7 is to find a friend or a mentor who can help you along with your vegan journey. So at the time that I went vegan, I was working in an office. There was one other guy there that was vegan and had been for many years, and he was giving me some tips on what I could buy, where I could buy it from. I found it really useful actually, because he'd be able to point me in the right direction of the best food places to go. He could let me know the best websites to buy vegan clothing from, so I wasn't buying any leather or any animal products. I just found it really helpful to kind of have someone to chat to. I'm still really grateful for that. So if you can find yourself a friend or a mentor, whether that's someone you know or even if it's just someone online, it doesn't matter. If you can have that kind of secondary support group of someone you can chat to about your difficulties and challenges, then you should definitely take advantage of that, because it is really helpful. And it's always good to have a chat about something new as well, isn't it? So find yourself a vegan friend, a mentor if you can. Number 8 is to educate yourself. When I did Veganuary, I had no idea what I was doing. I learnt it all kind of on a whim and through friends and through support groups. When you go vegan, there'll be a lot of people giving you false information about the animal industries, animal agriculture and dairy industries. And without kind of knowing the facts and what happens to the animals, find myself kind of ill-equipped to have these conversations. So I would say watch some documentaries, go online, make sure obviously you're finding reliable sources, and you'll see for yourself, what happens. There's some really good movies I mentioned before. Dominion is one, and also Cowspiracy and Forks Over Knives. And recently I watched Game Changers, which is really good. It focuses more on the health and fitness side of things and more on the science, but definitely worth a watch. That is on Netflix. It's not always easy to find out what happens in these industries, but I do think it's important to know and to understand and to watch at least once. But I do think that anyone who is struggling with Veganuary, I'd highly recommend to at least watch one of these films, just because I think it's important to keep that at the centre of your mind while you transition into a vegan diet and lifestyle. So it definitely helped me, and I know it'll help you as well. Number 9, lastly, is just to have fun with it and embrace the journey. I think a lot of people who do Veganuary can take it really seriously. And it is important to do that because obviously we're doing it for ethical reasons and to eat and live more compassionately. But I do think as well at the same time, we're trying new foods. This is a new chapter and a new adventure that you're embarking on. So I would highly recommend kind of giving yourself a pat on the back and seeing it as a journey and seeing it as kind of like a new adventure. Try new foods, go new places, you'll meet new friends. And I think, if you do it and stick with it, it will change your life, and it will obviously change the life of many, many animals as well, just by one person going vegan. Keep going, please keep going. I did, and I had difficult times. And like I said, I just stuck to the principle of remembering why I'm doing it and let that kind of become my kind of central core. And then I just started having fun with it, and I haven't looked back. So since going vegan, from a personal standpoint, my life has changed massively in a very positive way. I just wanted to tell you guys that you can do this. I hope this advice was helpful, and please hit the subscribe and the like button if you'd like to see more of me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.